Okay, this is the electric load center. Some people call it the breaker box, call it what you will. I cannot locate today the electric meter. And I'm going to make an assumption. By the way this guy was wired, and that being that we do not have protective rubber covers over these, that this is the second panel. The main disconnect is located near the meter somewhere. So if there's an emergency, you need to turn off one main principal, you got to go to the meter. You can't do that here. Now, what's also considered a main disconnect is 6 or more throws in a group. Some people call it the span of a hand. I don't know whose hand. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just your 220. Then we just go on to all our different branches. So you cannot de-energize this cabinet with 6 throws. So the 6 throw rule doesn't work. So if you've got an emergency, that's what I'm talking about, is the emergency. Okay? And something really bad happens. We don't want it to happen. Okay, we've got GFCI and AFCI circuit breakers in here in all the right locations, most of the right locations. That's us, okay? Stop it, bud. And that's the way we test them. I mean, we test the GFCI too. I've got an AFCI tester, but it only works on older breakers. It doesn't work on these. And the manufacturer says this is the way you test it, is by the way. I like to test them electronically if possible, but I'm not aware of any equipment where you can actually test those electrically. So it's a big, long exercise. That's really not a needed conversation. So let's talk about something in more practical terms. We should not have sawdust and combustible debris inside of the cabinet. Manufacturer says that and code says that. Oh, it's just a little dirt, bud. I get it. Well, you know what? Nobody paid me to write the rules, so I'm just a mockingbird, okay? So we got combustible dirt in the bottom of this. The cabinet was screwed into place. Screws are faster and tighter, I get that. I guess it's tighter. That screw's not even in. That one's not even in. Just throw a screw in it, Phil. Let's go to the beer store. Oh, Billy, you're the fastest in the shop. I know. I'm going to get a raise next week. But what happens here is the faster and tighter does not have the same shear strength as nails. So if the structure was to experience, an event, well, then this cabinet would be much more likely to stay safely into place, or better into place, if it was nailed rather than screwed. Our wires are not supposed to be touching the cabinet cover. How about that? We're not supposed to have more than 1/8 of an inch gap between the cabinet and the wall right there. That compromises the fire blocking. And that's white hot. If you don't know that's hot, you don't belong in this cabinet. But we got white hots. White hots. And remember I said we have GFCI at most of the right locations. We're also supposed to have one at our laundry. At our 220 laundry right in here. We're supposed to have one. That's supposed to be GFCI protected by current standards. These are nice screws holding the panel cover in. And this is the panel label. This is the panel label right here. That is called printing. Some people call it block printing. Well, actually, it's not called printing. That's called handwriting. Excuse me. It's called handwriting. Some people call it block printing or block writing, but that's handwriting. It's supposed to be, see how it says warning, danger, square D, alright? See all these things? I'm going to find some more writing. That's printing. Square D is printing. Danger is printing. This is handwriting. The manufacturer and code both suggest, they don't suggest, they recommend, it's supposed to be printed. It's not supposed to be handwritten. It'd be nice if the amperage was located here. I'm guessing that's about 150. It might be 200. I don't know. I don't do calculations. Somebody's supposed to have made the calculations here, and so we don't know. Remove this twist out only when main breaker installed in panel. That would be your, see that? So we've got it's possible to install a main disconnect on this, I'm supposing. I don't know. I know that we don't have one. So what did we learn? We learned we got dirt in the panel. We learned that the panel is put in together with screws, and some of them aren't so tight. We learned that we got wires touching the panel cover, and we've got a gap more than 1/8 of an inch. We learned that we've got a white hot inside of this cabinet, and we learned that it's printed, handwritten. It's not printed. And then right here, see this pink tape? That's me, I'm Mr. Pink. All right, it's for these two breakers. See, this is called a lockout. Okay, you can turn off the clothes dryer, excuse me, water heater. You turn off the water heater and put that on there, and nobody can turn it back on. Now, the shame of that is, if you call it shame, is you can see the water heater right here. You turn it off. This is to help protect a technician. This is not required on the air conditioning unit upstairs, because the upstairs air conditioning unit, you'll see in an upcoming video that it has its own disconnect up there within sight, so you don't need this. But what's not inside? Clothes washer. What's not inside? Kitchen range. Kitchen range, clothes washer. These two are not inside. This, you don't need one of these over here for the indoor air handler. But this little gizmo here, this little lockout, alright, it should have been installed. It should have been installed for the clothes dryer. Because you can't see what's going on. Can you see the kitchen range? I can't see the kitchen range. So for the kitchen range, you can't see what's going on. You got two doors between here and the kitchen range. The technician's over here and he's leaning over here and he's working. You can't see whether it's on. I mean, I guess he could. Hey, is that still on?